Halo, selamat datang di channel Library Ryan. Di sini kalian bisa menikmati berbagai cerita-cerita bahasa Inggris. Jangan lupa untuk pencet tombol subscribe dan like dan share, ya. Agar kalian selalu mendapatkan cerita terbaru. Terima kasih. Hi guys, welcome to Library Ryan. Today I'll be reading St. George and the Dragon. St. George and the Dragon. Chapter 1, The Deadly Dragon. A king was strolling on his battlement one day. As he admired his kingdom, he saw a dark shape in the distance. It came closer and closer and closer. Oh no! It was a dragon. Its eyes flashed fire as it flew. It let out a mighty roar and jets of yellow flame shot from its mouth and nose. The king screamed, "Help! Guards, to the roof, now!" The dragon soared in a loop around the castle. He roared again and the river far below dried up with a sizzle. The king's guards rushed onto the roof to see what the king was shouting about. The dragon roared once more and set 5 fields on fire. The guards stared at horror. "Stop that dragon," ordered the king. "It's going to burn us all into cinders." His guards hastily fired their bows as the dragon swooped through the sky. Arrows flew to the air. Each arrow hit the dragon, but then, bing, 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 the arrows all bounced off the dragon's tough scales. The dragon laughed. "You can't hurt me, but feed me once a day and I'll leave you alone." The king agreed. What else could he do? "Bring food to the cave by the lake," said the dragon, and with one last roar, it flew away. Feeding the beast. Chapter 2. The next morning, the king's guards crept to the cave. They left 2 fat, juicy sheep for the dragon to eat. When they came back the next day, the sheep were gone. The dragon ate 2 sheep a day until there wasn't a sheep left in the kingdom. "We'll have to feed the cows instead," sighed the king. The next morning, guards brought the dragon 2 cows. As they were leaving, the dragon opened an eye and scowled. "I don't like cows. Bring me something else to eat," it said. "Or I'll burn your kingdom to the ground." So the guards ran to a nearby farm and fetched some plump young chickens. "How about these?" said the leader of the guards. "Yuck! I hate chickens," snarled the dragon. "Bring me something else." The guards left again and came back with pigs and goats instead. Luckily, the dragon liked those. Unluckily, it swallowed them in a few gulps. "I'm still hungry," he grumbled. "Bring me a princess," roared the dragon. "I want something sweet for a change. And don't pretend you don't have any princesses," he added, glaring at the guards. "I know the king has a daughter. I saw her as I flew over his castle." "Bring her to me tomorrow at sunrise," the dragon went on, "or I'll burn the kingdom to the ground." And he let out a burst of white-hot flame to show it meant what it said. The guards rushed back to tell the king the terrible news. Chapter 3, Princess in Peril. When the king heard the dragon's threat, he went white. "I won't allow it," he declared. "Not my daughter." "But father, I'll have to go," said the princess. "Oh, he'll burn us all." The king knew she was right. With a heart as heavy as lead, he ordered his grooms to get the princess's horse ready. Early the next morning, the princess rode to the dragon's cave. He was fast asleep. The princess saw its sharp-pointed teeth and shuddered with fear. As the sun rose pink over the hills. She heard the sound of hooves. Was it her father coming to say a last goodbye? But it wasn't the king. It was a handsome knight on a beautiful white horse. He carried a long lace in one hand. When he saw her, he gave a cheerful chin. "Hello, I'm George. I heard about the dragon," he said. "I'm here to help." The princess was overjoyed. "Don't be afraid, princess," George yelled. He swished his hands. "I'll save you, George." "Thank you, George," the princess whispered. "But please," she added, "could you be as quiet as possible as you ride closer, or you'll wake up the roar?" Too late. The dragon reared up on his scaly legs. He was awake. Time for a fight. Chapter 4. George to the rescue. George whirled around to face the dragon. Flames shot out from its nose. They leaped at George, but he didn't move away. Instead, he thrust his hand with a powerful blow. It should have skewered the dragon right through, but this diamond skin was as hard as diamonds. George's hands bounced off the dragon's belly, pushing George back. He fell from his horse to the ground with a clattering thump. The dragon roared and spat another fiery cloud at George. The princess looked in terror. Was her rescuer going to need rescuing himself? George started to stagger to his feet. He reached for his hand, ready to charge again. It was no good. George's hand bounced off the dragon's scales and he fell down to the ground once more. "George, look!" the princess cried. All of a sudden, there aren't any scales on its nose. George peered closer. Sure enough, the dragon's nose was soft. It didn't have any scales at all. "Well spotted, princess," said George. But as he prepared to attack, the dragon began to lash its head from side to side. George hadn't looked around and had an idea. "Princess, pull off your belt, tie a loop at the end and pass it to me." The princess was puzzled, but she did as he asked. "Thank you, princess," said George. He swung her belt around a gallardo and threw the loop over the dragon's head. Then he pulled it tight and threw the end to the princess. "Hold on," ordered George, and leaped onto his horse. Before the dragon knew what was happening, George charged with his sharp lace. With the princess holding the dragon's head, George speared its soft nose. Blood spurted out. The dragon howled in pain. It gave a great roar and tried to break free, but it was well and truly caught. "Now, dragon," said George, "I'll let you go if you promise me you'll leave this kingdom and never, ever eat a human." The dragon nodded sulkily. "But if I hear that you're breaking your promise," said George, pointing to his hands. The dragon took the hint and flew away as fast as its wings could carry it. Chapter 5. A Hero's Reward. George and the princess rode back to the king and told the king rode back to the castle and told the king the whole story. "You saved my dying daughter," said the king. "How can I ever repay you?" He offered George a heap of shining golden coins. "You could buy your own castle." "No, thank you," said George, shaking his head. "Gold is too heavy to carry when I'm on an adventure." Said the king. As he offered George a pair of fine horses. Their bridles were studded with gems and their coats gleamed like moonlight. "Thank you, sir," George said, "but I have a horse. How about half of my kingdom?" said the king. He was running out of ideas. "No, thank you," said George. "All I really want is another adventure." And with that, George rode off into the distance, looking for more dragons to defeat. Bye, thanks for watching. Please remember to rate and subscribe, and go to my channel to see more videos. Bye!